You're gonna hear me use the word organic way too many times in this video. The artist we're looking at today is literally defined best by the word natural. Everything she draws looks like it came right up out of the ground. So my name's Brant and I run the show Best Art on Earth, which is where I find all the best art I can find and bring it to you. And how do you know it's the best? Because I said so. I'm gonna break it down to the art fundamentals and prove to you that they're the best. Today's artist is Johanna Puhl, who's an illustrator from Germany. Everything that she draws looks like it's alive, which is appropriate since she's somebody who's well known for drawing vegetable characters. But when I saw this piece, I knew we had to do an episode about it. There's too many things going right with this piece that we can break down and explain why her art is so organic. So I'm gonna put it on the iPad, we're gonna break it down fundamentally why that is. Okay, so the first thing I'm immediately seeing here is that we've got a pattern going on. She's got the trees in the foreground, the trees on the creature, and the trees in the background all match for the most part. Another pattern you could point out is the fact that she uses the same colors on the creature as she does down here in the foliage and the forest. By using the same color palette, it really ties it into the forest and makes it feel like it belongs there. Next, we're going to talk about color and line and about how it affects almost every other fundamental we're about to talk about. So there's a lot of different kinds of lines. One is that you've got these horizon and hill lines going through this. And what that does is it actually creates movement. When you put an object on a flat horizon, it immediately makes it feel like it's still, like it's not moving. But if you put it on moving waves, or in this case, rolling hills, it definitely adds movement or action to the piece. It makes it feel like that something dynamic is happening at the moment. You're also seeing it with all of the clouds as well. You know, I've heard the saying before, Mother Nature doesn't draw in straight lines. And you can really see that in here. There's almost everything has a curve to it, a bend to it. If you have a straight line, it goes thin to thick to thin again. So there is no perfectly straight lines on this at all. The more rigid something is, the less natural it feels. And in a lot of ways, that makes everything feel more natural. It adds harmony, a lot of the same way that the pattern did. And I'm going to show you one more thing about her lines that I think almost nobody realizes. And that's to do with color. If we go really, really close in here, and I pull up the color chart, her lines aren't black. They're actually dark browns and dark oranges. I think the darkest I can find on here is actually about there. By using this brown earthy color, it's giving it more of that earthy tone. Even with her lines, she's actually staying more in her color palette of browns and greens than most people even realize. Now in here, we're gonna watch how she uses color to create emphasis. As far as I can tell, there's two major focal points, right here and right here. And most of the time I spend it going back and forth between these two characters. She uses color to make emphasis two different ways. What she's done, she's built a blue frame around this creature. The only place she's used blue is just around him. So she used color as a frame here. The second way she's created emphasis is just putting the color directly on the character. So you can use color as a frame, or you can use just directly color onto a character to create emphasis that way. When you use color one time in a piece, you will create emphasis. And last but not least, texture. You can't have something feel organic or natural without texture. Hold on. So I've taken the last 20 minutes to paint over her piece. Here's her original piece, and here's the one with no texture. And I want you to take a second and look at that. At first glance, this might feel like very much the same piece. But when you look at that for a second, and then you move over and look at how much texture she has with her lines, with her values, with her colors. Sometimes you have to remove all these little details and colors to realize how much life she has breathed into it, how natural this piece feels. As much as it's still a very well laid out piece, it feels blank. It feels cold. When I look at this piece, I really feel the life and nature coming up into it. If you're ever wondering why a piece doesn't feel more natural, you should look into the texture. So if you like her art as much as I do, please go check her out on social media. It will brighten up your social media feed, and you can go to her store and buy some amazingly cute prints or stickers Thank you, Johanna, for letting us look at your beautiful work, and I'll see you guys next week with some really cool art.